One of my favorite things in the world to do is watch Friends. I know it's been off for years and years. It's not even around, but I still find myself binge watching old episodes. And I was thinking about this today and thinking, it's the predictability of the friends in the circle, right? You have Chandler with his quirkiness, Monica with her type A of just everything has to be so neat and tidy and organized. It's Phoebe's ability to make you laugh at her silly songs. Ross always comes in with those smart comments, and Joey and him and his food, like it is just so hilarious. And of course, Rachel, she just brings everybody together, and it's just such this beautiful, cohesive team of people. And it's why I wanted to come on and share with you today that I have an opportunity for you to find your friends in the content creation space. So if you are thinking about creating your first or your next digital course, I don't want you to miss this opportunity because Amy Porterfield just opened the doors for registration for her Course Confident Bootcamp. And I'm actually offering a special bonus for anyone that registers for the Course Confident Bootcamp through my special link. So I want you to go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register. That's crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And what you're going to find when you get there is I have this special bonus private podcast series. It's called Money Mindset for Creators. So I want you to go register for Amy's bootcamp, download the podcast, and immediately start listening to it, because what this training is set up to do is to help you get your mind right about monetizing your content, making money so that you can fuel your content creation dreams. So go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register for Course Confident. And I cannot wait for you to find your friends and find the people that will be there for you. Do you see what I did there? Yeah, nice little friends segue connection. Go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And I cannot wait to see you inside. Okay, let's get into today's episode. We're talking about some things today that may make you squirm, okay? We're going to talk about stats and numbers and tracking and spreadsheets. And I know these are not the sexiest things that we can talk about when it comes to content. They're not even that exciting in some people's opinion, but I hope that your mindset shifts a little bit after today's episode, because tracking your numbers in your business and in your content are extremely, extremely important. And we need to have a conversation about it today. And I am bringing some really fun things to today's episode, some stories, some fun examples from characters like Regina George and Miranda Priestley and Frank the Tank. Like, hopefully you get all of my early 2000s, mid 2000s movie references, because we're going strong today. We're going in hard. I'm leaning in hard to making this fun and not as boring or overwhelming as it may seem. So let's get right to it. Welcome to the Profit Podcast, where we teach you how to start, launch, and market your content with confidence. I'm your host, Crystal Profit, and I'm so excited that you're here. Thanks for hanging out with me today, because if you've been trying to figure out the world of content creation, this is the show that will help be your time-saving shortcut. So let's get right to it, shall we? Okay, Crystal here today, and we are diving into numbers and tracking and all the things that we really don't want to talk about. Let's just be really honest. I would rather talk to you about content ideas all day, or a recording setup that you could do on the go, on the fly, or let's brainstorm some titles for your next podcast episode, or what are your YouTube thumbnails going to look like? These are the things that I love. It's the creative part of content creation that gets me so fired up. The numbers on the back end different story. Very, very different story. And I have talked to enough of you. I have engaged with hundreds, if not thousands of people that are in this audience and creating content to know that numbers just aren't that sexy unless they're big numbers, right? Like it'd be a totally different ballgame. You would be screaming it from the rooftops if you're like, oh yeah, I got 1 million downloads on my podcast last month. Or yeah, I grew my Instagram by 100,000 followers in the last month. Like those we have no problem talking about, but I don't know about you. Like if you're listening to this podcast, you may not be in the situation where that is happening to you. And that's okay. That is 100% okay, because I'm going to get you comfortable thinking about your numbers, talking about your numbers, and really evaluating them and tracking them in a way that is helpful to you. Not just you opening up Buzzsprout and looking at your podcast stats once a week or even once a day and saying, okay, those are my numbers. Now what? Now what do I do? Like, I see these numbers, they're going, slightly up, slightly down, like nothing's really changing. Or maybe you can see the spike. You're like, ooh, I got like a whole bunch of views on my YouTube channel for this one short that I made that was about this one topic that I'll probably never talk about again. Like that information isn't super helpful. And you just hopping in and out of all the platforms where you're creating content and looking at things every once in a while is not going to help you move the needle in your content and helping you convert people to actual listeners of your content or watchers and into eventual buyers of your products and services or whatever you're offering to your audience. So I told you we were going to talk about some 2000s movie references because this is like my primitive, that's not the right word. Formative, that's the one I was looking for. These are my formative years, right? I was in high school in the early 2000s and I was driving and I was, just having the time of my life at this time. So when I think about some of my favorite movies, it was Mean Girls, The Devil Wears Prada, and Old School. Those are the ones that came like just to the forefront of my mind today whenever I was planning this episode. And so I thought it would be fun to bring those characters to life as we're talking about tracking and your data for all of your numbers, your analytics, all the things, like all the boring terms. They're boring. Like let's call them what they are, right? Unless you are an accountant or someone who is absolutely obsessed with numbers and tracking, you're going to be like, yeah, I really struggle to find excitement about this, which is why I'm here today. I actually enlisted ChatGPT and I was like, ooh, let's write some stories about some characters who weren't great with tracking their numbers. And here's what it came up with. And it just makes me smile so big reading these because they're silly. That's the point. Okay. They're silly. Let's just go. So first up, we have Regina George, the queen bee of Mean Girls. Regina thought she ruled the school without needing to track anything. But when she finally took a closer look at her audience's preferences and behaviors, she realized she'd been missing out on valuable opportunities to connect and engage. Don't be like Regina. Track your stats and rule your content kingdom like a true queen. Now, as I'm reading this, I'm thinking about like, well, who is her audience? Like she is just like, the whole school is in love with her, right? Like she is absolutely obnoxious, like the most obnoxious character in that whole movie. And she just like ruled everything. So no one cared what she did. Do you remember when they like cut the holes like in the bra, like, or not the bra, but like in the shirt where you could see their bra? And it was just absolutely ridiculous. They're trying to sabotage her. And everyone ends up loving this like whole ridiculous thing because it's Regina George. They did not care. But to put into context, if Regina was a content creator and she wasn't tracking her stats, that would really look like someone else becoming more popular than her. Like think about if Regina George had a TikTok, right? And over time, she's creating this content and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on her name. What is the other girl's name that was like her best friend until all of a sudden like things flipped? It wasn't Caddy. Caddy was, Lindsay Lohan's character. It was the other one who, oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on this. Like, you can't sit with us, right? She got so mad at her for not wearing, or she was wearing like her tracksuits at one day. Anyway, I'm totally butchering this movie because I haven't seen it in a while, and I probably should have like brushed up on remembering all the characters' names. I know some of you are listening to this and watching this and you're screaming. You're screaming. Gretchen Wieners. That's her name. It was Gretchen Wieners. Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm like, y'all are screaming. You're like, Crystal, you don't know what the character's name is. Okay, it's Gretchen Wieners, right? What if Gretchen's TikTok surpassed Regina's just because she was tracking her numbers? I mean, that in and of itself is worth tracking because all of a sudden Gretchen's like, oh, I can see where I'm having a bigger influence on this type of like niche or topic. So I'm going to start creating content there where Regina's just like, everybody just loves me. I'm amazing. And she's doing her whole like diva shtick and like just being a total, you know what? She's being the B word, like big time to everyone thinking that, oh, I'm the queen bee. Everyone's just going to go along with what I say. And then here comes Gretchen Wieners and she's like, my dad invented toaster strudel and I'm going to tell everyone about, X, Y, and Z. Do you see how silly this is? I know. I told you this was going to be silly today, but it's so much fun to think about these characters having like social content in today's world and how that could change the trajectory of their high school experience because all of a sudden Gretchen Wieners is more popular than Regina George because she tracked her numbers. Okay, that's example number one. The second one, we're moving on to Miranda Priestly from The Devil Wears Prada. Now, Miranda was all about the big picture, but often overlooked the finer details. She didn't bother, who could be bothered, with tracking her content performance metrics, assuming her content was always on point. Miranda Priestly never makes mistakes, right? However, when she finally started tracking, she discovered areas for improvement and saw her content reach new heights of success. Take a cue from Miranda. Pay attention to the numbers, and your content will thank you. I am sitting here imagining Anne Hathaway and Emily Blunt running after, oh my gosh. See, I should like have all the names like written down. I know that it's actually Emily, like Emily Blunt's name is Emily in it. Oh my gosh, what is Anne Hathaway's character? Y'all are going to kill me. I know that y'all are going to scream. So it's Andrea. Andrea is Anne Hathaway's character. So Emily and Andrea are running around piddling with all the things that Miranda, she just can't be bothered with them. Appointments, answering the phone, going to Starbucks, grabbing scarves, like all these things, like she cannot be bothered with them. She is way more just, I just want to talk to the big dogs on the phone. I want to flit off to Paris and I want to be the one that makes calls all the shots and does all the things. But you can bet your bottom dollar that she has someone tracking sales of how many people are buying their magazine or the ads or the sponsorships or the revenue or all these things that she has to be tracking because that's going to be part of her job, right? She may not be the one doing it, but she has someone on her team that is tracking all of these numbers across her business. So I actually want you to keep that in mind as we go through these today is you don't have to be the one that's tracking all of your numbers in your content in your business. You can hire that out. You can outsource that to have someone help you, but you do need to care. You need to care about these things because they are that important to the success of your business and your content. I actually forgot. I threw in another character reference because I'm obsessed. I put a poll out on Instagram the other day. I'm watching Downton Abbey and I just got started. And it was one of those things I'm like, I've heard enough people say it. It's like the rule of three, right? If you have three people recommend something to you, you should probably like check it out and try it. I think I had five. I had five in like the span of a month. And I was like, okay, I just need to watch the show. So I did throw in a reference for Downton Abbey. So if you've seen it, Great. If you haven't, then you'll have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's okay. You need to go watch the show. You can stream it on Peacock. There you go. So now, imagine the refined Lady Mary Crawley from Downton Abbey. She may have had her family's estate to manage, but she also had her content empire to oversee. Lady Mary, much like Regina and Miranda, initially neglected tracking her content performance. However, once she recognized the value of understanding her audience's preferences, she leveraged tracking tools to refine her content strategy and elevate her brand. Be like Lady Mary. Embrace the power of tracking and watch your content flourish. Now, for purposes of, like I said, I'm new to this, and so I'm in season 2, guys. Like, I don't know how everything ends up in this show, so I do not want to give any spoilers away for anybody. I mean, it's been over for almost 10 years. I think it's been over for a while, but I am looking at this from the idea, like, basically she's very prim and proper in, Europe in the early 1900s. Like, she lives in an abbey, which is basically a mansion, a mini castle. And I am thinking of how she had no problem outsourcing anything. She didn't do anything on her own. Like, she had someone brush her hair every single night, get her dressed, pick out her clothes. Like, she didn't really do, like, feed her dinner, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, tea time, like all these things. Like, she didn't do a lot on her own. So maybe we should all aspire to be a little more like Lady Mary, in that we outsource some of the things that we don't want to do or may not be great at. So this is the real trick. Like, the key here is identify and be honest when you really don't enjoy doing something. So I've told this story many times, but I worked with a coach in 2023 and we talked about like operations management and tracking numbers. And I remember, like, this was a whole session. Like, we spent almost an hour just talking about how much I hated numbers. I did not want to track them. Why it was such a painful, like, just, it irked me. It stressed me out and I did not enjoy it. And then she was like, why don't you make it fun? I was like, what do you mean make numbers fun? I can't make numbers fun. Like, I'd have to go back to the invention of numbers and make them fun. And she was like, why don't you think of ways that you can make your processes and systems on the back end fun so they're not so stressful and demanding and overwhelming? And so what I did is I was like, okay, how can I do this? I started color coding my spreadsheets. I know it sounds super dorky. Stick with me here. I started using fun colors. I started using emojis whenever I'm tracking things. And I embraced having fun. She was like, this is your business. You don't have to run your business like, a previous job or how someone else runs it and it's boring and it's tiresome and it's just bleh. Like, you could do fun things in tracking your numbers. And I really fully embrace that. And today it's something that I just keep on going with that. It's like, I'm going to make this fun. I'm going to make this fun. I'm going to fully embrace it. And I'm going to be like Lady Mary and outsource that piece of it to where I'm having someone fill in all the numbers for my business and my content. And I'm just tracking it monthly and quarterly. So that's how we can all be like Lady Mary. But let's go to Frank the Tank. I mean, come on. Old School is one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, we're going streaking through the quad up to the gymnasium. I literally just used this phrase in the last week because my niece just graduated high school and she's going to my alma mater. So eat 'em up, cats, Texas State University. She's going to Texas State. And we were looking at the campus like on Google Maps and we were talking about where she was going to live and all these other things. And I was like, oh, there's the quad. That's the first thing that popped into my head. It's like, we're going streaking through the quad up to the gymnasium. I know, it's one of those, like, you got to be, I guess, a child of the 90s to appreciate that fully. But here we go. So Frank the Tank Ricard from Old School. Now, Frank was all about living in the moment and didn't see the need to track anything. Why would he? His life was falling apart and he just wanted to go back to being a drunk college student. But he realized that he'd been missing out on valuable insights into his audience's preferences. He knew it was time to make a change. By tracking his stats, Frank was able to fine-tune his content strategy and take his business to the next level. Be like Frank. Embrace the power of tracking and watch your content soar. Now, I don't know about you, but I love Will Ferrell. I love him so much. Top 5 movies for me, 2 of them are Will Ferrell. I love Elf and I love Step Brothers. Those are 2 of my favorite movies of all time. And Old School, it's in my top 10 for sure. And when I think about just Frank the Tank being a character that has social media or having a podcast. Let's switch it from social media to a podcast. And he is not tracking his stats. He is just showing up and he's using Vince Vaughn's character. Do you remember him? He was like the audio salesman, like he sold speakers and all that stuff. He had Snoop Dogg come to their concert at the frat house. Oh my gosh, that movie just makes me so nostalgic and so happy. But when I think about Frank the Tank having a podcast and having this legit high quality studio set up in his house that his friend provided him, it's just so fun to me. But his podcast wouldn't grow because he never tracked his stats and he wasn't consistent. So he never knew what was going on. Sometimes he would do a 5-minute episode. Sometimes he would do a 20-minute episode and he would do, one week and then skip about 6 weeks. And then he'd come back because he's like, wait, I was drunk. I was on a blackout. I didn't come back to this thing. So don't be like Frank, okay? For multiple reasons. Let's not be like Frank the Tank. But I hope, kind of using some of these stories that were just super outrageous. I understand that. I wanted to have fun with today's episode. I am just so giddy and smiling. If you're only listening to the audio version, I hope that you can hear how much I'm enjoying this. I know on the video, y'all are just dying at all the different gestures and things that I've been sharing with you today. But I wanted to share all of this to say, I wanted to share that I have something that will help you not be one of these insane characters, or let's call them extreme. They are extreme characters for every single one of those references. And I don't want you having some of those same issues with tracking in your business, which is why I created my brand new product. It's called the Business Booster Bundle, and it is exclusive inside this year's BC Stack bundle. So what is BC Stack? BC Stack is one of those things that comes around once a year. It comes around in the summertime and it's usually only available for a week. So if you're watching this in real time, listening in real time, it's available from June 10th to June 16th. And that is when you will be able to, grab the Business Booster bundle inside the BC Stack promotion. But before I tell you how to grab it and do all those things, I wanted to talk about 8 key things that you need to know before you dive into this year's BC Stack. And I want to just tell you about the Business Booster Bundle, what you can expect whenever you grab it and dive in. So let's just dive into these 8 things and then we'll go from there. But the first one is having a comprehensive tracking solution can help you so much in your content and in your business. Oh my goodness. Just the tracking solutions, having a plan in place can make all the difference in the world for your content. So you can understand your audience's behavior and the preferences that they have, when are they listening? What are they doing? So that you can optimize your content strategy and maximize the impact that you have. So if you are someone, and I'm going to call some people out right now, that has been throwing things together last minute and you're oh crap, I got to record a podcast and I got to do it today because it's got to go out tomorrow. And you're just bleh, word vomit. This is what I'm going to talk about today. That is not a strategy. It's not. And I can say that very confidently because I used to do it. And until I got more strategic with my content, that did not work. just showing up and recording something and publishing it the next day and being frantic about it. Like, I was approaching burnout with that approach because it's stressful. Oh my gosh, this is so stressful. If you're just like, showing up and you're throwing things together and then you're like, I don't even know how that episode performed because I got to go to do the next one. Like, you don't have time to sit back and look at things. So you have to have that comprehensive tracking solution in place so that you can track things, so that you can see what is working in your content. So that is number one. My next one is streamlining your operations. So this goes back to having like a comprehensive tracking solution in place. I want you to streamline things so you will realize that you have systems and processes when you're already recording your content or creating it, or, sending your weekly newsletters, however you are creating your content. I want you to streamline everything. And you can do that, and you can save time and effort with tailored tools that are specific functions, right? These are specific to what your business needs to do and how you can increase your revenue, but it will allow you to focus on creating that amazing content. So we're having our tracking solutions, we're streamlining your operations, and then we're going to turn your content efforts into revenue. So if you're someone that's like, God, Crystal, I've been creating content for a while and I am just not seeing the results that I wanted, maybe it's because you haven't been tracking properly, or you haven't been looking at the right analytics. You haven't been looking at the right numbers to see where are the opportunities to get some sponsorship for maybe your podcast or your YouTube channel, or maybe, even inside your digital product, or have affiliate partnerships with specific companies, but you don't even know how to get started because you're like, I don't even know what my numbers are. So I want you to turn those content efforts into revenue, and you can drive income through optimized email campaigns, strategic SEO. We talk about SEO all the time, and innovative product launches. And I cannot wait to tell you about what I have inside the Business Booster bundle for product launches. Y'all been asking for this. Let's just say this. I have gotten multiple emails from people asking for exactly what we have inside what I'm calling the BBB, the Business Booster bundle. But yeah, innovative product launches, just wait, we will get there. Then we have access to some SEO tools inside it, plus some strategies for how you can look at what you're doing in your email list and other business products. And all of this is inside the BC Stack 2024. So again, what you're going to do is you're going to buy the BC Stack, and inside of that, it's going to include the Business Booster bundle, which is a mini course that we're talking about. All right, the next thing we need to cover is building confidence in your product and your content. And this happens when you know your numbers and you understand your audience to build a successful content business. So many of you have told me, Crystal, I want to be a full-time creator. I want to, just do my podcast. I want to just do my YouTube. I want to just help, clients in my community and make money that way and create content while I'm doing it. Well, if you start tracking, you will build that confidence to achieve that goal and to see that happen, but that will not happen. You will not be able to achieve that until you get serious about looking at your numbers, track the things that matter, and really make strategic investments in your business, whether it's time, money, energy, hiring help, outsourcing, or just education. There are certain things that you can do to help you get there, but you need to build that confidence in what you're already creating today so that you can see where the opportunities are in your content and in your business. Strategic planning. This is another one that I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. I do so much strategic planning from my numbers. So here's a little behind the scenes. I actually just recently started really putting more content on YouTube Shorts. I'm like, I have all of these things that I've created for Instagram Reels, right? I have these short video clips, and I have not been publishing them to YouTube. Why? Why, Crystal? Why have you not been doing this? I don't really have an excuse other than oh, I don't have time for that, or oh, that's too much. I'm already seeing just in the last week, thousands upon thousands more views on my YouTube channel just from Instagram Shorts, and I didn't have to create anything else. This was from content I already had in my Google Drive, and it was just a matter of uploading it to my YouTube channel for YouTube Shorts. that strategic planning can only come from me looking at the data, from looking at my numbers. And now I'm like, oh, like I got this like information super bubble on my analytics and YouTube when I logged in. It was like, hey, here's a key learning. You're doing great. Keep uploading things because it's working and your channel is growing. And I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm paying attention. So strategic planning can only happen when you already know your numbers. Now, the next one. Learn from others' successes and failures. Now, this is why I really want you to get the Business Booster Bundle, because it is going to be inclusive of all the things that I've learned since I started my podcast in 2018 when it comes to tracking what to track, what's most important, because there may be some of you listening right now, or maybe you're watching this and you're like,
Being a woman in business comes with its own unique set of challenges, but also so many opportunities. We get ahead by leaning in to what makes us different from business as usual. I'm Samantha Hartley, host of Profitable Joyful Consulting, inviting you to a special 6-episode series exploring the experience of being a woman in business. You want to hear from women consultants who've hit $1 million, who sell 6-figure engagements, or who've broken their own revenue ceilings? Yeah, those are my clients, and they'll be sharing too. Join me for 6 must-listen episodes that tackle key challenges for women consultants. Follow Profitable Joyful Consulting on your favorite podcast app.
I just get overwhelmed by what to do and what not to do with my numbers. There's too many analytics out there. There are way too many things that I could be tracking that you kind of shut down and you don't even go further. You don't go deeper into the content because it's a little intimidating. I get it, which is why I want you to go learn from the things that I've already learned. I've already made those mistakes. I've already failed so many times at this content creation thing that I want you to learn from what I've done in the past so that you can be strategic about what you do in your content. Now, the last one is, this is a key thing here. You have to act fast. Okay, you have to act fast because like I said, this Business Booster Bundle is only going to be included in the BC Stack 2024 until June 16th. So I want you to go to crystalprofit.com/BC24 to go purchase BC Stack. Now, I am a proud partner. I'm an affiliate for BC Stack, so I make a commission for anybody that signs up with me, but trust me, it will be absolutely worth it because it's less than $50. For less than $50, you get my product, my Business Booster Bundle, which would easily be $97 if I were to just sell this, and I may sell this in the future. And it's going to be a lot more than less than $50. It's going to be close to $100 whenever I put this out on the open market just for a Profit Media product. But for today, you can grab it until June 16th for less than $50. So go to crystalprofit.com/BC24 to grab the Business Booster Bundle inside BC Stack 2024. You're also going to get so many other products, like dozens and dozens of other products, because it's a bundle. There's a lot of people contributing to this product, but I am just shouting out what I'm most excited about and what I think that you could benefit so much from. And it's using the Business Booster Bundle to help you learn how to track your numbers. So if you're like, Crystal, just tell me already, like what is inside? You've been talking about this thing so much. What's inside of it? So the first module is we're going to be talking about your content management suite. I'm going to talk about my quarterly content calendar, and all of these come with templates and tutorial videos showing you exactly how to use them. So I'm going to tell you how I do this. I'm going to demo how I do this, and I'm going to give you a template to go with it. So content management suite. Then we have the marketing mastery bundle. And what this is I'm going to show you and give you my content deep dive metrics that includes tracking your podcast and your email stats. So this is what I outsourced recently to my my VA, this is one of the things that he does. Like he weekly tracks my podcast stats and my email for open rates, click-through rates, like all of those things. That way I just open up a spreadsheet. I can open it up every week. I can open it up once a month. I can open it up once a quarter, like however much you want to track it. But this is something I outsourced to him immediately and was like, hey, I need you to track these stats. I still want to see these on a regular basis. Can you start tracking these for me? And it has been such a seamless process. So absolutely a very important one. The other one for marketing mastery is SEO keyword and competitor analysis tracker. And really what this is I'm going to show you how to do a site audit for your website. Now, if you are a previous coaching client of mine, then you know that this is something that we do on like day one whenever we work together. I share with you all the insights that I do from a content audit. And so in this video, you're going to see exactly how a content audit works. The resource that I'm going to give is the number one thing that I think everybody should do. If you have a website, you need to be doing this. You need to do a site audit and see where are your SEO opportunities so that you can have some organic reach with the content you're already creating. Now, the third one, and this is the one that I know so many of you are going to be excited about. This is my affiliate launch companion combo tracker. I know it's a mouthful, but this is my like eat, sleep, live, and breathe tracker. I use this for every single one of my launches, whether it's an affiliate launch, it's a profit podcasting launch, it's a mini launch, it's what like even for the BC Stack launch, I told you I'm an affiliate. This is an affiliate launch for me. I have this spreadsheet for this tracker, and it includes a launch snapshot, all of my launch emails. It includes my launch leads and how I can track webinars and boot camps and freebies and all those things, plus my sales and payout. So if you're like, Crystal, I really wish that I had a place to track whatever it is that you're launching. It could be your podcast launch. It could be your YouTube channel launch, like whatever it is. If you need something to help you launch a product, service, I don't care what it is. If you need something that will help you keep track of things and keep everything in order, this is the thing. This is the thing that I am most proud of. I have really tweaked and catered this thing specifically to this audience. And I think that it's going to be so helpful for anything that you launch. And I'm breaking down like every single part of this spreadsheet. Like they have their own video. Everything that I just like called out, it has its own demo and tutorial. So you need to grab it. You need to go get the Business Booster bundle. So go to crystalprofit.com/BC24 to grab it today. Again, this is only available until June 16th. So go grab it before it expires. This is one of those that it's not around. Like they won't be like, oh, you can come back on the 18th or the 20th. Like, no. It's gone. It is once a year and it won't be back around. And like I said, we'll probably put this on Profit Media, but it will be a lot more expensive and it will only be the Business Booster bundle. If you join BC Stack right now, you get this, the Business Booster bundle, plus dozens of other products that other people have contributed to. So again, go to crystalprofit.com/BC24 to buy the BC Stack today. But man, that's all I have for you today. We had so many fun things, from talking about Regina George to Miranda Priestley to Lady Mary Crawley to, that was a terrible accent. I don't even know what that was, by the way. So I do apologize for that one. Then we had Frank the Tank. Like, I want Frank the Tank to come on this podcast and we can could you imagine how obnoxious that would be? It would just be so much fun. So much fun. So if I could have a dream podcast guest today, I would tell you it would be Frank the Tank. But that's all I have for you. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Actually, if you did, I want you to send me a piece of fan mail wherever you are listening. If you are on an audio platform on a mobile device and you see that little text that says, send Crystal a text message, please send me something. I want to hear from you. You can text me wherever you are listening to this podcast. Just click on that link that says, send Crystal a text message, and I cannot wait to hear from you. But that's all I have for you today. So again, go to crystalprofit.com/BC24 to buy this year's BC Stack bundle. But as always, remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere. Hey, Profit Podcast listeners. Thanks for sticking around to a little bit after the episode to hear this special message because I want to hear from you. We are starting a new segment called Fan Mail Shoutouts, and I want to hear from you and I want to hear your questions. What do you want to know? What questions have you been dying to ask me? So here's how to make this happen. Go to the app where you're listening to this podcast right now. Go there. I'll wait a second. Okay. Now, once you're there, you're going to see a hyperlink at the top of the episode description that says, send Crystal a text message. And that's all I want you to do. Send me a text. It could be casual, informal. It could be totally anonymous. Or if you want, you can include your name and the name of your podcast or content wherever you are creating, and I will give you a special shout out in an upcoming episode. So again, go to the show notes for where you're listening to this episode right now, and it will say, send Crystal a text message. And I cannot wait to hear from you and give you a shout out in an upcoming segment of Fan Mail Shoutouts.